I'm not a religious guy, but I was freaked out when I went to the Vatican by the paintings. I know that it's all kind of rooted in the Bible and everything, but there are these weird images, and I'm sorry, but they look otherworldly. So here are some examples of paintings. And things in the sky.
Clouds. That's a cloud.
Yeah, those look like
Okay, but it's a cloud shape with a weird shape, right?
It could be a lenticular cloud, which they do actually look a lot like that.
That one is interesting.
Well, remember, guys, this is centuries old where nothing flew.
And that one does not look like a cloud.
There's a cloud shooting down a beam inside of a house. That is not a cloud.
There's also this Renaissance painter, Domenico G, I'm gonna say, Ghirlandaio. He painted one of the most famous religious UFO paintings, and it's artwork of Mary looking down at two infants, and there's like this mysterious object up above, and it looks a little like a saucer, if I'm being real, and I'm very skeptical.
It's a bug.
It's a bug, it's a fly.
Guys, look at that. It looks like lasers coming down.
I always wondered if this was like a depiction of, is this confusion for Heaven's Gate sort of opening in sort of like a theoretical idea of what that might look like, or is this actually something in the UFO camp?
I was about to say, usually when it's representing heaven, it would be a light circle and then beams. This looks like a very, very dark figure that is pointing beams and then thus giving light. So I think that's very UFO-esque.
It's an interesting idea, the idea that this long ago, these could have been some of the earliest chroniclers of something in the sky that maybe they thought was divine. But in reality, this could be something else.
If you think about it, okay, modern UFO theory, a lot of people say that in big, important historic events, these things tend to show up. So in these historic events, like the baptism of Christ and things, the theory is, well, there were observers there as well.
You know, playing devil's advocate for a moment, what would somebody from that time period, how would they perceive, you know, somebody coming from space that was simply a visitor? It would be supernatural.
They would have assumed that it was a god, exactly. So I do think that, you know, a couple of those paintings, which doesn't look like a cloud, it clearly looks like what we think of a spaceship with those beams coming down. I feel that's rather compelling, considering when they were painted. They have not been clouded by television and the X-Files or anything like that. There's no electricity at that time.
No airplanes, nothing that flies.
Nothing that flies, precisely.
It is weird because we keep seeing these saucer-like things, and these are hundreds of years old.
The stuff in the paintings look mechanized, meaning it looks like it's something built. It's
technological.
Not,
it looks technological.
It looks technological.
Or did one see the other's painting and go, oh, I like that saucer up in the air, looks kind of cool in the painting, dude, I'm gonna do it on mine.
That's more of a curiosity because you never saw anything fly back then.
No,
Clouds, birds.
No, they knew how to draw a bird.
They knew how to draw birds.
there's written accounts too. It's not just the paintings. Like in the Bible, Zechariah talks about a flying roll. An angel says to him, you know, look, and he says, what is that? It's a flying roll.
Which means if they saw something, they'd attribute a supernatural cause to it.
Yeah.
But I guess that kind of poses the question, is there any reason that the church would want to conceal this information today? Do they only believe that it's supernatural, or do they actually believe that there's something here that's worth keeping a secret?
Well, but by the way, there were people in the clergy in the Vatican who subscribed to the notion that this could be alien life coming down to Earth. There were people in the...
No one's refuting that. The question is, why now is this a conversation to talk about? What new information is coming out, or what new tactic about concealing the information changes things?
Easy. People are finally willing to talk about this without being labeled crazy.
Yeah.
And that's really only been since 2017, since the New York Times did a story explaining that the government was concerned about this and was keeping files. So it's only been 5 or 6 years since people could talk openly about it.
And they're seeing what's coming down the road maybe, and they're like, we better stay ahead of this because our...
Right, because the Catholic Church is known for being ahead of the curve.
My goodness.